In this video, I'll be showing us how we can add a game over screen so that when our character dies or when they run out of time, a game over screen appears and we can press retry to reset the game. We will start this off by creating our game over scene. So at the top, press the plus icon to create a new scene. And on the left side, we will add our root node as a control node. So look for control, select it and create. Now on the control node, we will right click and add a child node. We'll look for the canvas layer and select the canvas layer and create. Now, as a child of the canvas layer, right click on it, add a child node, and we want to add a VBox container, so that's a vertical box container. And inside the VBox container, right click, add child node. We're going to add two things. We're going to add a label for some basic text, and we'll also add in a button. So add the button. Now, right click on the control node again, and we're going to add a new child node of the control node. We want to find the sprite 2D option. And we're going to right click on the control node again to add another child, and this time we're going to add a camera 2D. So add the camera. Now we've added all the nodes we need, so let's go to the control node and I'm going to rename this, and I will call it game over. Now I will click on the label over here on the left, and then on the right I'm going to write in game over for the text so that I can see where it is displayed. Then I'll click on my button here on the left and I will give this some text of retry. So I will just make sure that I select the game over node, and I'm going to select the move tool here and drag it into roughly the center. That moves all the elements into the center position. Obviously the text is still over here, so I will select the VBox container and then I will drag that to a more central position as well. Now let's click on the sprite 2D and I'm going to add a texture. This is just going to be a background texture for my game over scene. So I'll go into assets, I'm going to go into the pixel adventures and background. I'm just going to choose the pink option here and drag that into the texture field in the inspector. Now it's a bit too small at the moment, so I'm going to go into the transform and I'm going to scale the background up a little bit, size of 20. But that's us with a background covering this now. So I'm going to go into the label and sort out the font. So with the inspector open, I'll go down to theme overrides, fonts, and I'm going to go into the Baraki's tutorial assets and pull the font in. Then I'll open font sizes and I'm going to set this to a lot bigger, so 64 pixels. Similarly, we'll go into the button and we're going to also update the font there. So theme overrides, fonts, drag the font in. And for font sizes, I'll set to 32. Now that's a lot more visible. Now I'm going to fix the positioning of my text here. Now earlier on, we actually dragged this VBox container. So make sure you select the VBox container, open this transform option, and I'm going to reset the position, clicking on this reset arrow. And instead of dragging the position, we will use the actual anchor preset options. So I will open anchor presets and instead of top left, I will put to center, and that will center our text perfectly. Now I'm going to get the camera and I am going to zoom this in a little bit. So I'll say 2. And now this little rectangle that is appearing around the text, that's going to be what we see when this scene actually opens. For now, that setup's good enough. So let's go ahead and select scene and save scene. Make sure the scenes folder is selected and hit save. Now we're going to modify our code so that when the player dies or the time runs out, we get a game over message. So let's swap to our script view. Make sure the game manager script is selected. Now I'm going to add in a new function. So I'm going to call this new function game over. And this is the function that will run when our game is over. So here's the line of code we want to add. We want to say get_tree.change scene to file. Now at the moment we have an error, and that's because inside of these final round brackets at the end, we need to add the name of the file we want to load, or the name of the scene that we want to load. Now, nice and easy, down here in your scenes folder for the game over scene we just created, if you just click and drag, and if you put your mouse inside the round brackets and let go, it will place in the file path of the scene you want to open. And that's all we need for the game over function. So now what we'll do is we'll go down to our process function here, and instead of printing game over when the player runs out of health, we will call our game over function. So I will write in here, game over. Now let's go and test if this works when our player runs out of health. It does. So it swaps to this game over screen here. Now, one issue we have is if I go full screen, then my background is not covering the whole area. So I think I'll fix that first. Okay, so I've gone back into my 2D view on my game over scene, and the way I'm actually just going to fix this is I'm just going to increase the camera's zoom level. And if I run the game now and try it again, then when our game is full screen, the whole background's covered. That's a bit of a lazy fix for the moment, but for now it'll do. So let's make sure that game over also appears when the timer runs out. So to do this, let's go back to the script and we'll make sure we're in the game manager script. And actually we need to swap over to the level scene here. Make sure the game manager script is the one that's still selected. And what you can do is if you select the level timer, then on the right side, select the node option, and you're going to double click on the timeout signal here and click connect. Now what's this done is it's added a signal to our code, and this signal is going to trigger when the timer runs out. So we can make something happen when time runs out. In our case, we want the game over scene to load. So if we put our game over function inside of here and test this out, there we go. Our game over displays when the time runs out too. Now, the last thing we'll do is we'll get this retry button to work so that we can restart our game when we click it. So we'll head back over to the 2D view and we will open our game over scene. Now, over on the left, make sure you select the game over node, right click, and we'll attach a script. Make sure that the scripts folder is selected, open it, and I'm going to rename this to game over manager. Click create. Now, in this code, let's get rid of the default code here. Go over the left and select the button. Then from our signals, we're going to choose the button pressed option. So this pressed, double click it and click connect. Now this signal triggers whenever the button is pressed. So code inside of here will run when the button is pressed. And the code we're going to add in is GameState.reset. So if you remember, I'll swap back to our GameState script, and inside of here, remember we had this reset function, and it resets all of our values to be what they should be at the beginning of our game. And so what I'll also add in here now that we have the ability to change scenes is I will add this line of code, the getTree.changeScene to file line, and we will go down to our scenes folder and we can drag in our level here so that we get the path to our level scene. And if we run this now, then when we die and click the retry, we should be able to completely restart the game. So you see we lose our health, the timer's gone down. If we click retry, everything has reset. Let's check with coins as well. So we've picked up 3 coins, and when we retry, everything has reset. And that is it for this video on how to add a game over screen.